Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the Online Series 13 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In the previous episode, which I've linked down in the description below, we featured a team built by 2017 World Champion Ryota Otsubo, centered around Cherrim, Groudon, and Zekrom. This team is really interesting, mainly because of Cherrim, and if you didn't get to watch the last episode and want to see Cherrim at its best, I highly recommend the last episode. It's not the easiest Pokemon to use or bring, and we managed to get a lot of good games with it previously. So, would love to continue bringing it in today's episode, but I also would like to feature Zekrom a little bit more, since I think it's a really underrated Pokemon in general in the format, and I think it can be really powerful when put in the right position. So, yeah. Thanks so much as always for watching. If you enjoyed, please show your support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. Question of the day, inspired by us using both Kyogre and Groudon and having Cherrim on the team. I want to know if you could create a new weather, what would it do? What boosts would it give? Let me know in the comment section below, and let's get started. Okay, we've got Blastoise, Kyogre, Zacian, Shedinja, Regieleki, and Calyrex. I mean, this is almost a Series 12 team, just with one extra restricted. What are my Shedinja answers? That's always my first question. They have so much hyper offense here. Dynamax Regieleki is a pretty big problem as well. Honestly, Zekrom's really solid here, right? I think we probably want to play around Zekrom in this game, ideally. Zekrom, Yveltal. I mean, if I can get Tailwind up, that's great. I just don't know if it's that easy to actually properly set up. I do have Choice Scarf Kyogre, which is pretty interesting as a lead option as well. Cherrim is cool, but I just don't think it does enough for us in this matchup, because we have enough offense to break through my opponent already at this point. So yeah, sorry Cherrim. If you want to see Cherrim at its best, I'd really recommend the last episode where, yeah, we brought it, I think, to pretty much every single game. I think Cherrim is not exactly the easiest Pokemon to execute, and for that reason, it can be... yeah, not a bait, but if you're bringing it, you have to play with it super well, in my opinion. So they're gonna go with Blastoise and Zacian. Okay. Right now Blastoise should be worried about Max Lightning, but it could be Wakandberry. They should see that I'm Choice Scarf on Kyogre, so Blastoise clicking Fake Out onto the Kyogre slot certainly makes some sense. I'm really looking to gain a speed advantage in this game, ideally, I think. I mean, I definitely want to be Airstreaming right now. Also covers for Shedinja. And gets a speed boost. Airstream into... and then switching out into Groudon, somewhat interesting to me here. Honestly, I'm also down to just Water Spout. We'll see what they go for. Okay, they're staying in with both. I guess it could be a Blastoise Dynamax as well. But I think Fake Out on a Blastoise and then Play Rough onto either slot or Behemoth Blade Zekrom if you don't have Play Rough. Makes sense. I kind of expect Fake Out plus a Play Rough into Kyogre to just KO it, but we'll see if that's what they opt for. I don't think Kyogre's actually that important here. Yep, there's Fake Out. And they Play Rough Zekrom. Okay. It's a lot of damage, but we survive critically, and that's all I really need here, because now I have Water Spout plus another Max Airstream, which is really good for us. Actually, with Zekrom being as fast as it is, do I need another speed boost? I could just Max Lightning, no? Just double checking the speed of it, just because we don't use Zekrom that much. 156. So half of that is 78. Yeah, we're faster than everything. I'm down to just set up Electric Train now, honestly, then. Lightning and just Water Spout here. I think Zacian protecting makes sense. But honestly, that turn one played out really well. I think as long as Zekrom is not getting KO'd, we're in great shape. So they actually switch Blastoise out, maybe into Shedinja. Oh, it's actually into their own Kyogre. Okay. And Zacian does protect. Yeah, I had the opportunity to target the Zacian slot. But you know what's interesting here is I end up setting up Electric Terrain, right? And so, like, my Max Lightning will also do some damage through Zacian's Protect. So this next turn, I can just Lightning into the Kyogre slot and then just Water Spout into Kyogre. The question is whether or not Max Lightning does enough through Protect where I feel confident in Water Spout actually getting the KO. It's kind of close. I wouldn't bet on it, personally. So I could read into Kyogre protecting or switching out here. Lightning into Zacian is always fairly safe, but I don't know. It's tempting to target Kyogre because Assault Vest is decently common. And if, like, Zacian doesn't have any HP investment, maybe Water Spout just KOs. And they switch out. That works for me. Into Calyrex. They didn't breeze Shedinja here. Oh, that is so good for us. I think, like, Zekrom and Kyogre can just overwhelm my opponent with how fast we are right now. Okay. They're actually not going to Dynamax either Pokemon, but they're not protecting Kyogre here either. Obviously, they can't Dynamax the Calyrex that just switched in, but yeah, Zekrom is having a field day here, honestly. I'm really impressed by it. Yeah, we just get a KO. Beautiful. And then this is the Strength of Choice Scarf Kyogre as well. Now, the key thing to note is that my opponent will still have the speed advantage going into the late game because they just have so many fast Pokemon in Calyrex and their Zacian. Blastoise is probably their best max option right now, so they are going to bring it out. That's interesting, though, because you can only fake out one Pokemon right now. I will Feign from Life Orb now. One thing to worry about is, I don't think Trick Room's actually a concern. Basically, I think here I'm actually intrigued by the idea of just protecting and Water Spouting. Like, maybe I eat up a Fake Out plus an Astral Barrage. But the thing is, I don't expect Calyrex to or Kyogre to, or sorry, Blastoise to protect. Yeah, part of it is, like, I just like maintaining the speed advantage that I have right now, because I know both of my Pokemon outspeed my opponent's team. So even if Kyogre eats up a Fake Out plus an Astral Barrage, I honestly think it's fine. Because, yeah, Calyrex here, yeah, you get an Astral Barrage off, but then I just outspeed both Pokemon next turn, right? I don't know, if I didn't protect with Zekrom there, I could have gotten a KO onto Blastoise, though. Yeah, maybe that was still fine to take. The other interesting thing here is they still have not Dynamax, but yeah, I'm just going to Bolt Strike. Wait, actually, we do risk missing there. But I think it's still worth going for, because if, like, Blastoise Dynamax is here, I actually don't think I KO with Dragon Claw, so I'll take the 15% chance of missing, because they could also switch into Zacian here. Yep. There we go. And we really don't want to Dragon Claw into that, right? Okay. They could go for, like, a crazy Calyrex Max here. Okay, they're not going to go for it. Yeah, Water Spout off. Beautiful. And as long as we don't miss Bolt Strike, that's just Zekrom demolishing things here. That single speed boost changed everything, by the way. And Bolt Strike does not miss. Amazing. Wow. Okay, this might just have been the best Zekrom game I think, like, I've had in Series 13 yet. That's a crit, but with Terrain and Life Orb there, that definitely does not matter. And I think this is part of, like, the inherent awkwardness of kind of the comp that my opponent has, where it's, you know, like, Kyogre seems like the very clear max option with what they have, and then they have Regieleki as well, right? So that could be another max option. But now we know Blastoise is their last one. I'm happy to just bring out Yveltal now. And, I mean, Blastoise is never pulling off a comeback from this angle. There are multiple ways we could finish this game off. But given that we have Groudon with Thunder Punch in the back, I think it's fine to... Well, we can really play it in any different number of ways. Tailwind here sets up Groudon. Switch Kyogre out into Groudon. Even if they were to one-shot Groudon, like, the Kyogre just comes back and clicks Thunder anyway. So, yeah, my opponent just didn't have an opportunity to Dynamax in this game. And we didn't really give them room to, right? And I think part of it was that Zekrom just applied so much pressure to my opponent's side. One thing I will say is on turn 1, I did get a little bit lucky that they didn't go for something like Helping Hand play rough, because if Zekrom gets one shot there, I just lose the game immediately for sure. But I figured since they saw Kyogre was Choice Scarf, they might be a little bit worried about that. And them not targeting Kyogre allowed me to just get so much free damage off with Water Spout. So The nature of my opponent's team is that it's fairly fast-paced and is kind of designed to outspeed you before you can move, but us just getting that Airstream off on turn 1 put me in such a favorable position, because it meant we can just overwhelm our opponent with offense after that first turn, and they have really very few defensive pivots and switch-ins. So, yeah, really, really good game for Zekrom there. We've got Palkia, Ho-Oh, Lunala, Zacian, Kyogre, and Whimsicott here. Okay, definitely reminds me a little bit of like the Icy Wind Lunala that we featured recently. Their team looks more Tailwind oriented, but I don't know. Like Lunala, Palkia, and Whimsicott could all Trick Room. I think it's another good game for Zekrom, truthfully, but it has to worry about Palkia. I'd love to set up Tailwind with Yveltal then. Okay, I'm down for Yveltal Groudon, and since my opponent's team is fairly specially oriented, I do think I want to give Cherim a shot here. Choice Score of Kyogre is not that powerful into their Whimsicott, Kyogre, Palkia. It's decent into Ho-Oh. I have to worry about Wide Guard from Lunala, and Water Spout doesn't necessarily get a one-hit KO into Zacian either. So, yeah. Like, the last game I felt like it was really hard to justify Cherim, whereas here it makes a lot more sense. It's still hard to use, right? But they're going to go with Palkia and Whimsicott. Okay. Turn 1 is interesting because like Zekrom protecting here is like kind of the obvious play, so they could Tailwind and like Max Wormwind the Yveltal slot. My concern is that KOs Yveltal. It is really, really bulky Yveltal here. Palkia is also speedy here, as you can see. It's actually faster than both Zekrom and Yveltal. So they might just be max speed, no bulk. Oh, this is already a really tough spot to be in, but I think what I'm going to go for is I'm going to Tailwind. And dual Wing Beat. I think us being at such a major speed disadvantage here is really bad. Like the fact Palkia is outspeeding both of us is tough. I don't know. I could have maxed either slot here, but the problem is Whimsicott with Focus Sash can also just Tailwind. So not only do they already have a speed advantage, but they also have a way to further increase their speed advantage. So this is just really tough to break through already, I think. Okay, they're not going to go for Tailwind, though. Yeah, they go for Moonblast onto Yveltal. Super effective. I get crit. That does actually activate my Citrus Berry, but I think if Palkia is max Worm winning that slot, I just faint. We'll see. Yep, there's Wormwind. Yeah, they did double up onto Yveltal. Okay. It would have been so huge if we survived there, but I don't think I'm ever surviving that combination. I mean, the thing is, now I do have the opportunity to get the dual Wing Beat off into Whimsicott. Hopefully we don't miss here. Okay. Oh, is that really not going to KO? Okay, that's not good. I didn't have a max Wormwind switch in here either, and Incineroar and Kyogre don't really help either. Yeah, I think we were honestly just really Palkia weak. There's not really much of a way around it. I could have Dynamaxed Yveltal max Airstream. That would have worked against what they went for turn 1 really nicely, actually. So yeah, I should have found that play, but it's hard. Yeah, the fact we didn't KO with dual Wing Beat also stings. I mean, I guess I can bring out Groudon. How do I beat Palkia Whimsicott? I guess it has to be Dynamax Yveltal. That's it. Like, I don't really see any other answer. But the thing is, if I just Dynamax Yveltal and then they Wormwind into Zekrom, I'm screwed too. So this is just a nasty, nasty matchup. I'm trying to think if there's anything funky I can do with, like, switching into Cherim here, for example. I don't know, like, bait Max Wormwind onto one slot. Okay, I'm going to Max Quake Palkia and then switch into Cherim here. But I think the problem for me is I'm going to lose too many resources too early on in this game. But basically, in my head, I'm like, okay, if I want to win this game, I essentially have to make it so that Whimsicott is like a dead slot for my opponent so it doesn't do anything. I just think, yeah, we have very few Palkia answers with this team in general. Like, the only real way of dealing with it would be Zekrom trying to one-shot it, but Palkia being the speedier variant here is really problematic for me. There's a fair amount of Palkias, like, just don't invest very much in speed and focus more on HP and special attack, because they like to flex between Tailwind and Trick Room. But, yeah, like, the fact that they were naturally faster meant that they didn't even need to Tailwind on turn 1 with Whimsicott, allowing them to get that extra Moonblast off. So now they Tailwind, that's fine. I'm hoping they're targeting the Cherrim slot here. There's Max Wormwind. Okay, yeah, that's what we're looking for. The problem is that Groudon's eating an attack drop, right? But the thing is, I don't think Bulk Up really gets me anywhere, and at least Max Quake gives me a special defense boost here. And we still have Flower Gift as well. So, like, what I can go for next turn is something like a Helping Hand and Max Quake to try to KO Palkia. Oh, that really doesn't do that much, though. Jeez, okay. That's really disappointing damage, truthfully. Hoping for just a little bit more. Okay, I mean, I think I'm going to Max Quake Palkia and then just Protect here. Because, like, I'm at such a major deficit after turn 1 that I need to, like, try to equalize things a little bit. And, like, the benefit for me right now is that my opponent's Whimsicott is not that scary unless it has Charm. Great. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think my only approach in this game was to find the Dynamax Yveltal on turn 1 and Airstream, like, dual wing beat Whimsicott, and then we actually would be in decent shape then because they didn't Tailwind. I think this is an example of, like, a really bad matchup, and it's so bad to the point where I just have to find the exact right play on turn 1 of the game, and if I don't, like, I feel like I'm doing the best I can right now, but it's just not enough, right? The fact they have Charm also just makes this a nightmare. So, yeah. But it's still not over. Like, I'm not going to give up. I think we're actually still in a position where we can maybe contend. What do I think they're going to have in the back is the question now, right? I mean, Zekrom's not half bad against what they have in the back, truthfully. It can be really good, but the problem is the speed. They still have another turn in Tailwind. Okay, I mean, I'm just going to go for Helping Hand Quake and try to KO Palkia here. But I think this also just shows one of the downsides of Cherrim, which is that it relies so heavily on the physical attacker next to Cherrim, right? And so if you have Charm, Reflect, Intimidate, it shuts me down fairly quickly. Curious if the Spatial Rend KOs with us being at +2 special defense and our ability, but the answer is going to be yes still. Okay. I don't even think Max Quake... No, Max Quake should KO. It should KO. The problem is I'm dealing with Charm Whimsicott still, so I can just Charm my Zekrom as well, right? Yeah. But I guess I could always just protect the Zekrom, try to get a KO with Groudon onto whatever's coming in. Or sorry, onto the Whimsicott. I don't even think the Precipice Blades or Thunder Punch gets the KO here onto Whimsicott. But, yeah. Okay, they bring out Zacian. Yeah, I mean, with that, I think it's really tough to win. Because, like, I just never had a speed advantage in this game. Yeah, my best bet would have been Dynamaxing Yveltal on turn 1. I think even with that would be hard, but at least then they don't have Tailwind, and then I can use Yveltal to boost other Pokemon's speed. And the other question is whether or not I had, like, a better lead potentially in this one. But I think this is just a matchup issue. Like, execution, like I said, the one play was maxing Yveltal, but we have basically nothing for Palkia Whimsicott. Especially with Whimsicott Charm and Fast Palkia. That's like the worst combo we can run into. And sometimes in Pokemon that just happens. You're not going to have a good matchup against every combination in any format that you ever play, right? Trying to think of it. We're at -6. Okay, honestly, best bet is double crit Precipice Blades. Actually, if we just crit Zacian, that might be enough. So, we'll give our best here. Yep, they play rough into Zekrom. We might be a Moonblast into that slot as well. Makes sense. I don't know. If we get a single crit here onto either Pokemon, that'd be nice, but instead we're going to miss. That definitely does not help. Sick. Not that it really matters, but it takes like a, hey, at least I have like a very small chance of winning to, I mean, now I think it's just over. Yeah, I'm going to go for the double, but they tailwind in there. Okay. It's just kind of funny. But hey, I guess if there's any time to mispress this plays, at least it's in a time where it's a pretty losing game anyway. Yeah. Palkia is not a good matchup for us here. But, you know, even in the worst matchups, you should always at least still try to find ways to win. And we had a really good opportunity on turn 1 to, like, come out with a pretty major advantage. The problem with this matchup is I'm at such a huge disadvantage that I have to play risky, I think. And my turn 1 play doesn't really cover for much. It was kind of a middle of the ground play, but it's like even if I get the Tailwind up there, if they just Tailwind Whimsicott and then Max Worm wins Zekrom, I'm also in a really bad position, right? I could lead Incineroar, at least that pressures with Fake Out. So like Incineroar Evoltal would allow me to maybe like set up Tailwind. But the thing is, even if I set up Tailwind here, the Whimsicott just matches the Tailwind in the subsequent turn. So the only real approach is, yeah, knocking out Whimsicott on turn 1 with a double up while airstreaming as well to make sure I get a speed boost. Then at least I have Evoltal, Zekrom with the speed boost, and then Groudon Cherrim in the back. So then, I don't know, I can like max Airstream, Dragon Claws, Palkia next turn. The thing is, Zacian just comes in and also applies so much pressure. So yeah, I think, you know, in Pokemon, sometimes you just run into one or two Pokemon that really give your team a tough time. Palkia itself is manageable. It was the fact that it was really fast Palkia that outsped my Zekrom, combined with Tailwind, Charm, Whimsicott, right? And they had Moonblast as well, right? Because a fair amount of Whimsicotts, these formats actually just carry Energy Ball instead. And so it was like we ran into basically the worst duo with like all the right moves to help out against us and the right spreads, right? And so when you have losses like this, it's always good to reflect, like, one, where can you play better? And like I said, there was the opportunity to improve my play with the on turn 1, but it's kind of a hard play to find. And then 2, like, okay, if you have a big matchup issue like that, you know, let's say you're trying to win a tournament or you're, you know, just trying to build a team that's like consistent. You then got to ask yourself, okay, how often do I expect to run into that combination or that team that I just lost to? Can I patch it up by fixing a move or an EV spread or a single Pokemon? Or is it just such a big fundamental issue that I have no way around it, right? So always good questions to ask, especially when, yeah, you feel like you just don't have that many options available to you. Okay, third game here, and we are up against pretty classic hyper offense in this format. What do we want to do? Opposing Tailwind teams are always annoying because, like, I really value setting up Tailwind with Evoltal with this team, but when they have their own Tailwind, things get a little bit dicier. Zekrom can be really good here thanks to Max Airstream. So, honestly, I'm down to continue playing towards Zekrom. Like, my question is, can I fit Cherrim in? I guess I could drop Kyogre for it, but I don't know. I think it's so hard to bring here, especially when I'm staring down Tailwind support. I could scrap Kyogre for it, though. Alright, I'm going to drop Kyogre for it. It's not the best decision to make here, but we're here to try to use Cherrim and see what it can or can't do, right? Because I think the thing with the Pokemon like Cherrim here is, like, you kind of go all in with it. It either provides you immense value or does practically nothing for you. And in this matchup, I don't have confidence that it can actually offer me that immense value. But I'm sure as heck gonna try. So the Whimsicott Kyogre here from my opponent. Okay. So we'll see how fast they are here by abilities. Okay, we're faster than Kyogre. That's a pretty big piece of information. Kyogre's really slow here, actually. It's slower than both Mons. Okay. Like, I'm down to Tailwind here. Max Airstream on turn 1. The idea is Kyogre right now is probably feeling threatened by Zekrom. If I want to win a matchup like this, I need to gain the speed advantage. Part of the problem for me in the previous matchup, and they switch Kyogre. I think Groudon coming in here makes sense. Yep. But then it then begs the question, like, I could have actually gone for Tailwind Dual Wing Beat, which would have just denied them Tailwind outright, which would have been really sweet, but oh well. Like, the reason I didn't want to Tailwind dual Wing Beat there is because let's say they actually just stay in with Kyogre, and, like, I don't know, if they have Charm. Actually, even if you have Charm, what am I scared of? Then Zekrom still outpaces you. I guess there's a world in which Whimsicott Tailwinds and then Kyogre just Hailstorms Zekrom, but that's fairly risky because you would expect Zekrom to survive. And then you would just get hit by a Max Lightning. You know I'm faster than you as well. But we trade Tailwinds here. In the end, I decently content with this outcome. Another fun thing, by the way, is that my opponent actually just brought Groudon out. So I can actually take advantage of their Groudon, and they're not Focus Sash Whimsicott. Okay. That actually changes the dynamic of this completely. Because if they're Focus Sash, it means that I essentially wasted a max move. I wouldn't say waste, I get a speed boost, right? But I spend a max move just to get Whimsicott down to 1 HP. But now this actually forces my opponent to bring something out, and I get Tailwind up with Yveltal. So this is completely night and day from the previous game where I was just consistently outsped by my opponent. This time around, we actually gain a major speed advantage. Now, part of the problem for me in that last game was I just couldn't really get to a game state where this was, like, possible, right? Because, like, their Palkia just outsped my team. So I never had a safe, like, you know, way to maintain the speed early on. Anyway, now it's Zacian coming in. Switching in Cherrim here is actually pretty interesting. Max Quake is somewhat scary from their end. I think Zacian protecting here is kind of the obvious play for them to make. Okay, I went for Foul Play and Wormwind onto Groudon, reading into a Zacian Protect, but I don't know if that's the correct play. The thing is, I think if Zacian does Protect here, we kind of just win the game. Next turn, then I could withdraw Yveltal out into Cherrim, give Zekrom the boost, and then Max Lightning into Zacian. And the other idea is, even if they don't Protect here, I get an attack drop onto both Pokemon. Plus, I have faster Yveltal right now, and I have Groudon in the back as well. And they'll be at neutral attack with both Pokemon. Nice. Okay, good. So Zacian does commit the Protect. Now this allows for some very interesting plays the subsequent turn with Cherrim. The only awkward thing here is, like, by Wormwaiting, I decrease Groudon's attack, so Foul Play does less damage, but honestly, I'm okay with that, given the current state of the game. I think turn 1 and turn 2 have basically played out almost as well as possible. I guess it would have been kind of sweet to, like, I don't know, nuke Groudon as it switched in last turn. Oh, it's Citrus Groudon, okay. So you're not Assault Vest, that's good to know. Yep, there's Max Quake. Cool. I honestly think their play is to go for a double Protect with Zacian right now. Do I need to switch out? I think it's honestly fine to just Foul Play in Max Lightning here, truthfully. Yeah, I actually prefer that. Because the problem is I don't want to give up the speed boost on the Yveltal right now. They actually don't make a switch here, which I'm very happy to see. That's a one-hit KO. Wow. Okay, I think Zekrom's pretty decent. Cool. Now we're in this interesting position where we can win the Weather War. So they're going to bring out Kyogre, obviously. I don't really care about the special defense boosts on the Groudon. Just trying to think about sequencing here. Because I don't know how fast their Kyogre is. I think I might actually be down to just bring out Groudon anyway. Out first. Because, like, if I go into Cherrim, it doesn't really do anything for me right now. Oh, it could Sunny Day. That's kind of cheeky. I think I'd rather just go into Groudon here, truthfully. Like, either I win the Weather War because Groudon is slower, that works for me, or I lose the Weather War, but that means I outpace your Kyogre, right? Both are okay outcomes here, in my opinion. Okay, so just change to Rain. Does Groudon reactivate the Sun? It does not. Okay, so this Kyogre is just slower outright here. That's good to know. It's fine by me. I'm actually down to just Snarl here and Protect this turn. Especially since we have Thunder Punch on the Groudon as well. I think what I can do is Snarl here. Next turn, switch Groudon out into Cherim. Foul Play into the Groudon slot. Because I don't really care about their Groudon too much right now. Maybe I should. I don't know. And part of it is like the Cherim is Sunny Day as well. It'd be very poetic to end the game with the Sunny Day from the Cherim. That'd be awesome. Snarl doesn't miss, which is great. They go for another Max Quake. That's fine. Yep, into Groudon. Cool. Yeah, and the idea is pivot Groudon out into Cherim. Like, I don't want to risk crits from Water Spout right now, or any water type attack, or like an Ice Beam Freeze. And since I now know Groudon's faster than Kyogre, it's a pretty big piece of information as well. Okay, so they're going to Origin Pulse. 231 down to 143. Nice, that didn't really do too much. We have leftovers here. I could just stay in Thunder Punch right now, right? But I don't know. Like, the problem for me in this game is that Cherim just doesn't really have any offense, whereas, like, Groudon is pretty much almost all my offense. I mean, Yveltal's not bad here either, but, like, here what we can do is just Foul Play, comfortably switch Groudon out into Cherim. And then I can even go for Helping Hand with Cherim. I can protect Cherim, bring in Groudon, then just a single Helping Hand Thunder Punch should KO the Kyogre. I don't really care about what their Groudon has to go for right now, and Foul Play is so valuable because I don't really care about those special defense drops via Max Quake as well. So they're not going to protect. Cool. We get Foul Play off here. And that's a KO. Beautiful. Cool. And they just go for another Origin Pulse. Beautiful. Okay. Ice Beam into Cherim is really the one thing they can go for right now. I would love to end the game with Groudon coming in and just clicking Thunder Punch into Kyogre. But we don't want to risk throwing the game here, so I'm down to just Oblivion Wing and Protect. Actually, it'd be funny to set up Sunny Day here. We should outspeed Kyogre. Okay, they just end up forfeiting. So in the end, Cherim was cool. It gave us the potential to switch in. The thing is, actually, Max Lightning was so strong, it just KO'd the Zacian anyway, so we didn't even need to. But I think this game is really interesting because my opponent's team was a little similar to the previous one, right? But the key thing here is that we were able to win turn one really hard, whereas in the last game, I wouldn't say I lost the battle on turn one, but I don't even know like how I could really come back after turn one in that one, right? So yeah, ultimately, I think like this is a good episode to have next to the one that we had the previous episode. Because the previous one, I was able to bring Cherim out a lot, but in this one, like I brought it to 2 of the 3 games, but it didn't like really provide that much value, I would say, in either game, where in game 2, really just didn't do much for me. But the main reason for that was because they had Charm. I think actually if they don't have Charm Whimsicott, it's different. And then in this game, it actually allowed us, like it made me feel really confident in the end game, especially now knowing like I was faster than Kyogre. I could have probably brought Cherim out first over Groudon and then just set up Sunny Day there. But in my head, it was good to bring out Groudon to confirm the speed interaction between Kyogre and Groudon, because there I could afford to be faster, right? And so in the end, yeah. I think the last episode highlights how good Cherim can be against the right teams, but generally it is a little bit hard to bring into this format and actually like get maximum value out of it in every game. Like, yeah, maybe, 20-30% of games it's super good. Maybe 20% of games you bring it in doesn't do much, and then the rest it might actually like drag you down, right? Or you don't bring it. So that's my overall assessment with Pokemon like Cherim, and Cherim specifically in with this team, right? It's super cool, super fun to use, but it's not that easy to execute. And so you ideally want to bring it in games where you're confident, like you can pair it next to Groudon and Zekrom, and the Groudon and Zekrom can just sweep. But if anything, I was really impressed by Zekrom's performance throughout this episode. So yeah, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much as always for watching. Leave a like if you enjoy. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, and I'll see you all soon. All right, peace.